Hello, fellow gamers. I'm Gloryhound, and this is the lovely Dr. Gloryhogg.
Stop. You're a menace. You are a menace.
Yesterday, I did the exact same intro, except I didn't say Doctor's name, so you were expecting me not to say it, but then I did. So that's how I stress out my partner before the stream. So
Every time.
you all get to enjoy that.
I don't know what the intro is going to be every single time.
Every single time. That's how we do it. And hello to our chat today. It looks like we have Joe in chat. We have Battlecry in chat. Petter, Omar, Nosferatu Clown, Andrew. How are all of you doing today?
Dr. Gloryhogg.
I thought I said Joe.
Petter. I'm just renaming stuff.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who all you said. So we have a lot of people here today because everyone's super excited about Florence.
Is that the case?
I don't know.
What are all of you excited about? What's everybody excited about?
What is everyone excited about?
Why are you on the stream?
Why are you? Don't ask that question.
Oh, sorry.
Don't ask that. Jeez. All right, so our first one is Florence. How do you say it?
I'm sorry, we can't move along unless I'm moving us along, sir. You can't move us along. You don't have control of these lovely buttons over here to press anything. So everybody, today we're going to be talking about Florence. This is by Brain Cracked Games. It's for 1 to 5 players. And Dr. Gloryhogg, how would you describe this game?
It's fancy.
I think they used like titular or something like that.
They used titular, really?
I think so, because
they
it's
went
like
all in on titular.
They did, because it's all about that like gossip and moving up in the crowds.
Seduce the Medici on the night of the Carnival in this opulent worker placement Eurogame by Dean Morris. It is very opulent. It feels kind of like it's going similar to, well, I mean, obviously it's based off their trilogy, right? So they have Florence,
yes.
They had Ragusa, which is where you built a city.
Yes.
And then it was, which one is this one? Venice is the second one.
Yeah, Venice, because that one
Venice
has the boats going around.
You build your shop, and now you're a nobleman or a noblewoman, and you get to be all fancy, ride around in carriages, and talk about, like, you get to boast. Like, that's a great part about this game, is you get to boast. You get to go in there and be like, I remember when I founded this city. And they'll be like, dude, I was there. You did not found the city.
You get to make accusations and, like, get the gossip, get the lowdown on people.
You get to be pretty fancy.
Give out the presents.
So here's the weird thing about something like this, right?
Okay.
If you tell me I was doing something like this in a board game, I'd be kind of like, that's kind of a weird premise, but okay, I could be a royal and be all fancy and make up lies and everything. But if you told me, okay, well, if there's dragons and White Walkers and then there's Khaleesi, I'm like, oh yeah, tell me about these royals. I need to know what these royals are up to. Everything they say is so important. I'm over here taking notes. I'm like, oh, Jon Snow did not just say that. Oh, man. So if you just add a Game of Thrones to this, then I would be like all in on it because there's like murder happening. That's what this needs, is more murder.
Best that Star Trek says, what's the thing with so many games set with that Paris theme? And you know what? Paris is like so hot right now.
Paris is free. I don't know if you guys all know this. Nobody actually owns Paris.
Ooh.
It's a free city. You can just do
whatever you want with Paris.
And just tell them the doctor said it's all right. Yeah, if you went over to Paris right now and just put down a flag, you would own it.
Hello, Jim. So let's see here. Petter, their computer's frozen. That's why they're still here. You know what? That's debatable. I think you like talking about Kickstarters as much as we do, Petter.
Definitely, definitely.
So as far as we loved Ragusa. I loved Ragusa.
Yeah, I liked Ragusa a lot. It surprised me.
We didn't get to play Florence, although I really wanted to play Florence because, Venice, because the little boats, I really liked the mechanic where the boats were going around and you were like trying to fill them at certain points.
And if I remember right, you would like trigger stuff for other players too.
Yeah.
I know that's what was cool about Ragusa. Sometimes the action I take will let you do stuff, so I had to kind of plan for that too. Be like, I don't know if I want her to get grapes right now.
Well, I don't
know if she needs to get more grapes. Does she need more grapes in her?
Everybody needs more grapes. Hello, Kabuki. I really like whenever your actions, you have to debate on whether you want to take the best action for you and give your opponent an action, or take like one that's a little worse,
but not give them any benefit.
But not give them any benefit. And I love that so much because it really makes you make really tough choices. That's my favorite thing about board games, is making those tough choices during the game.
You really enjoy playing subpars by sabotaging me.
I do.
It's fair.
If you all haven't had cotton candy grapes, that's where it's at, Andrew. You need the cotton candy grapes. So delicious.
They are pretty good. So this one is interesting. I can see what people are saying about the theme, though. There is a lot of Paris themes going on. You know why? It's because if you look at it, it seems like such a perfect time, right? You're like, Everyone's all fancy. They're eating baguettes. There's like...
Who doesn't like a baguette?
There's wine and croissants.
I also love wine and croissants.
Maybe a crepe?
What?
A crepe?
Oh, crepe.
A crepe?
I thought you said a crypt. I was like,
They did have crypts, though, too. And this was a time where you could get super drunk with your boys and go hang out in the crypts and see a bunch of bones and,
That's
like,
true.
I don't know.
That's true.
Whatever you and your
You
boys did back
invite your
in the
lady
day.
down to the crypts.
You put on your, like, masquerade mask and you run around the city going, masquerade!
Masquerade.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good time.
That's basically how Paris is.
Minus the famine and the wealth inequality. And the guillotines. It was a really good time.
We don't talk about those things,
It was a
though.
good time.
I mean...
I guess it depends on where you're at. If you were a nobleman, it was great during a certain time. And then if you were, like, the uprising, it was probably pretty chill at that point.
Hello, Ryan. How are you doing? So,
little loot and scoot in Paris.
Petter says, Gloryhound hates drafts in cooperative games. Well, yeah, because that allows the other player to get things that I don't want them to get. But...
In cooperative games.
Yeah, but it shouldn't affect me the same way.
You would think so. Oh, that's a good point. There's 1,000 games in Paris, but 0 in Kakazan. I think that's because not enough people know enough about it, right? Like, I haven't played a game where it's set in Pakistan that I can think of.
That's true.
Or Afghanistan.
And plus, Paris...
I've been to both those countries, and they are... Mwah!
Paris is
There's some good parts of those
very
countries.
romanticized city.
Especially if you're not from there. I think if you're from Paris, it'd be different, right? Like, if someone... I bet you, like, if we were doing this show in Paris right now, we could be talking about this awesome game called Seattle. And people would be like, ooh,
it would be like, ooh,
so fancy.
Seattle, that's the place where the coffee is made
Building
out.
space needles in Seattle. And you're like, oh, who's got the tallest space needle? I do. I'm sure it'd be like that. I'm sure that's exactly what it'd be like. It's a fancy time for fancy people, okay? And you know what we need right now is fanciness. I don't even wear... Like, I pretty much, I wear pants maybe twice a week just to go outside the house.
Who's wearing pants right now? Hands up in the chat.
Nobody.
Yeah, see, nobody's wearing pants. Nobody's wearing pants.
So this is the time to be fancy and get in your little carriage. And I mean, come on, who wouldn't want to do that? I mean, if I could be like, and some people would show up with some horses and a carriage and take me places, I would be down. I would go to the grocery store that way. Like, I don't have enough money to get, like, groceries brought to me, but, like, I would still go to the grocery store that way.
Joe's like, not me, not wearing pants.
Jim's wearing pants. Good job, Jim.
Andrew's not wearing pants. See? The majority of you are not wearing pants right now.
I invested in, like, workout shorts, but I am not working out. But I invested in workout shorts last year. I got more shorts.
Just they're like relaxation shorts is what they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The relaxation shorts.
Ryan, don't lie to us, okay? We know you don't have pants on. Jeez.
He's definitely wearing shorts all the time. I highly doubt Ryan is wearing pants right now.
So with this campaign here, you can get the base game or you can get all 3 of the games. So they do have a pledge for that. And I kind of like that they did do a sequential sort of game following like, okay, here's the sort of story that we're doing with all of this. I really like that.
Yeah, we got in on the Century World because of that, right? Century Spice and Century New World and all that. It was kind of cool to have all of those and kind of see where they're all going. And like I said, I really like Ragusa. I wish we had a chance to play Venice to have an idea. I really do
too, because like I feel like I would be more amped up by Florence because of that. Because if I played
if you like
Venice,
you'd be like,
oh man, I got to get the 3rd on this. You know.
Third. I will say I like the custom-shaped meeples and stuff in this one. This does feel like their fanciest version, right? Because, like, Ragusa had some wood pieces.
Yeah.
And it was nice, but it wasn't, it didn't have, like, as much custom wood pieces like this.
Can you combine all the games into one giant game, like a little transformer? Maybe.
I think what you should do, technically, is play Ragusa and then, like, carry over, like, that color over to Venice
and then
carry that
now,
over to Florence.
Now we're in Venice.
Those are like, but Venice is in Italy. They're in like different cities.
Ragusa, does it start like really big and sprawled out where you're like doing all this crop farming and like building up a city, and then Venice is like inside the city, and then Florence is like the social aspects of the city? So like you go from like big scope all the way down to little scope. Exactly, Kabuki. Voltron. You get your Voltron on with these games. You can put all the boxes together and make a giant board game.
That's actually got me thinking about getting like 2 completely unrelated games and then trying to make them be one game, like Legacy style. Like playing one game that leads to another.
Which ones would you do that
You could do something like Asking for Troubles and then The Lost Secrets of Space one, you know? So you're over there playing as like, oh, I'm out here collecting resources. And all of a sudden you get lost in space and you have to do like the Lost secrets of the space station and like this whole huge campaign. I'm telling you, that's the new thing to do.
That would be pretty interesting to have that like that.
Or you could do like a Champions of Midgard that turns into like a Blood Rage, like where you start off like as these tribes working together, but then at a time of peace, you start fighting amongst each other.
Mm-hmm. Ice Cool and Reich Busters, those don't match.
You could totally do Ice Cool and Reich Busters. It just depends on what kind of penguin you are. Are you a Nazi killing penguin? Boom, then it makes Ice Busters. Ice Busters.
I think that
you have to flick into the monsters to engage. You have to flick one of your penguins, and if you hit a monster, then you can fight that monster.
So the big thing with the board here, I'm going to move over the board.
Yeah, please tell us about the board. Everyone's here for the board.
Well,
talk.
I'm saying that the carriages are moving around the board, and you're supposed to be placing your workers, you're placing your people in different areas. And whenever the carriages come around, then those are the ones that you're going to get influence and all sorts of stuff with. And then also you're trying to use time management with this game as well, because you don't want to be out all night, is what they're saying, right?
So you're going to take workers and you're going to place them?
Well, they're not workers. They're the fancy people.
Oh.
You're going to take the fancy socialites.
I don't know how to play this then.
And then you're going to put them over there, right?
I'm really confused if they're not workers. I only know how to place two things, dice and workers. That's it.
Why are you like this, Doctor?
Nothing else. Nothing else. It's interesting looking. I liked the noble dial that they had going on. And I liked a lot of the different aspects of it. I don't know if I'm ready to pull the trigger on it yet, though.
I know, me either. And I'm trying to figure out why. Because I feel like, okay, they're taking like this carriage sort of system maybe from like Venice, because they had the boats going around the board and stuff and like picking up and delivering stuff, right? But this isn't pick up and deliver. It's more worker placement with this. They did have the worker placement aspects of like Ragusa, you know, because you're trying to get those certain like resources to build your engine. And it's not quite like that. But like, I just don't feel like there's like a catch for me in this one. And I want to know what all of you think. Like, is anybody backing this? And what do you all think about this? Like,
I think the issue is kind of was like the same thing that happened with the Ragusa. Like, I didn't initially want to back Ragusa. And then when I played it, I enjoyed it. And I was like, oh, this is good. I think this is probably the same thing for me. Like, the theme doesn't really do it for me.
Doesn't click with you.
When I come to Kickstarter, I come for like the right, perfect theme, right? But there's tons of people out there that love this theme. Like, viticulture is a big game. I've never played viticulture. The idea of, you know, being a grape connoisseur isn't super exciting to me.
Venice is like, I'm on a boat.
Yeah,
Florence,
Venice
though, is a hard
just
pass.
Like that.
You're just not a socialite. Is that what it is? Like, you're not into the social business?
Talked about this. Petter doesn't typically back these types of games as much, right? So it's definitely in that.
It's cute.
I would play it, hands down. If somebody was like, hey, I've got this, do you want to come over and play it?
Oh, absolutely.
I would do that. I just don't know if I'm ready to
100%.
drop the money on it right now.
This is a $63 game. It should last about 20 minutes per player. So it's going to be an investment with money and time in this. So Andrew says, I agree. It's not the theme I normally see. Sometimes that's like a really, really good thing, though, because then you're playing something that you don't normally play. And there's some other games that I've played that are based on that like social style theme that are worker placement as well. I'm trying to remember what it was. Was there like a Toreador game or something like that? I remember some game where it had like rings you could put on your fingers or something. I don't remember. I don't remember the names of those games.
And then you took a picture of it. You played that.
And I was like, pow, look at these rings.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I feel like this is one that I'm more likely just to pick up at a store. But, I mean, it does have a lot of really cool custom meeples. We did enjoy the first one of the series. I think just missing out on the second one is what's really kind of hurting us.
Absolutely. I completely agree. So, right now I'm on the fence on this one. Doctor, would you back this?
It's a try before I buy, but
I think so.
I am leaning more towards buy than I am anything else. Like, I feel like it'll be good.
Like, all the components are super cute. I love all the little gifts, all the little shapes and stuff. All the meeples are super cute. Like, everything is super adorable.
The guns.
And I like the theme. I like the social aspects of the theme this year. I only back different versions of Checkers. Wow.
Yeah, I know you're really big about the theme on this one. Like, that's a good one for you. But for me, just Euros in general always have to hook me some other way, right?
Jim says, it's a maybe. Let's see here. Nosferatu. Passing looks like every worker placement game seen. As someone who hasn't gotten bitten by the worker placement bug, it's a pass. I think for the worker placement aspects of this, the biggest thing is that if you place your worker in that area first, like you have to pre-plan where you're placing your workers because you're going to get the most points by having your worker there first. But it's that aspect of like getting what you want and then waiting to put your worker there at the right time. You know, I think that's what the real tick is in this. Does that make sense?
It is probably one of those games that when you're playing it, you're like, oh, okay, I really like this. But seeing it from the Kickstarter page, you're like, okay, it looks pretty. They did a good job with the Kickstarter page, but I just don't feel like I'm in the mood for it right now.
And it's hard to put that into perspective unless you're actually playing it, and then you realize, oh man, this one worker I want to do this action.
Rococo
this
was
stuff.
like that.
Yeah, exactly. Rococo was like that.
I was
exactly
100% not excited to learn Rococo. I was like, I resisted. I pushed it back a couple times when you wanted to show it to me. And
you don't realize.
I eventually ended up really enjoying it.
You don't realize how important that like one singular choice is and how it affects you X amount of times down the row with where you're placing things. And I think that's exactly how this is going to be. So I feel like this is going to be a pretty good game. And they have a good track record and everything with getting those Kickstarters out. It's just, for me, like, since I haven't played it, I don't think I can back this one. I'm kind of sad about that, though, because it looks adorable. Let's see, are Euro games are for winter, Ameritrash games are for summer backing. I like that.
That's actually kind of fair.
Ryan says, try before you buy.
I want those big summer blockbuster games in the middle of the summer. And then wintertime, I'm like, oh, yeah, let's sit down with some cocoa. Enjoy
have
a nice Euro.
A nice long Euro.
We only
for the
play
winter.
Patchwork in the middle of December for some reason.
That's very true, and I love Patchwork a lot.
It's only December is the only time we play it, though.
Next up, we have Dice Theme Park. This is by Alley Cat Games. This is for 1 to 4 players. Should last about 75 to 90 minutes. This is based off of the aspects of like their Dice Hospital game, but it is a bit different. So you're going to be placing dice on all of these different like pieces in your amusement park in order to run them. And I think this is really interesting. Ooh, they have a dice cascade.
Why did you just punch your keyboard?
I know, I did. I was like, bam! Take that, and you're dice cascading.
So it's a dice placement game. So you're going to roll the dice, and then you're going to place the dice based off of whatever you roll. But the cascade is nice because if you have a 5, you knock it down to a 4, you can activate like another tile is what it sounds like.
Well,
so you can
have to move it.
Stuff.
So as soon as you
That's
use
literally
a
what
pit,
I said. You can move it to activate another tile.
Well, you said you... you use the pip to activate that tile and then you move it. I think you said it like the other way. I may be wrong, but you know what? We're live, and I can always go back and replay and see if I was right or not.
Because it's that important to her. It's that important. It's that important. So we have a few dice placement games that we enjoy. Like we enjoy Fantastic Factories. I haven't played Dice Hospital, but it seems to do really well.
Yeah.
I think it's on the lighter end.
It is.
But I mean, Fantastic Factories is kind of on the lighter end too. It's not super complex when you're playing it. I mean, we played it with kind of everybody.
It also seems like you're trying to make the choice between adding things to your amusement park as well as the people that are working for you in your amusement park as well.
Yeah, you're building up like a tableau, or you're building up your park to try to make your park better than everybody else's.
Right. So
which is important. It's not important that you succeed. You want to make sure that you just do better than everybody else.
Right.
You want to be the Disney.
The Disney of theme parks, right? Edgar says, I just got Wishland, so I think my amusement park game spot is taken. That's fair.
Yeah.
Nosferatu says, Dice Masters without the fun? No, I don't believe so.
No,
Dice Masters different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like some bag building in Dice Masters and stuff, I believe.
This is the closest back for me, but I have Marvel United Canvas and Game Toppers backed right now.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
That's fair.
That, absolutely. So this one here is going to be a little bit more complex because of that dice cascading. And did you realize that this is what Daryl Andrews and was it Adrian?
It's the team that made Sagrada.
Yeah, and Speakeasy Blues. That's the other one I was going to talk about. If you have not played Speakeasy Blues is an amazing game. I loved that game
I have not played Speakeasy
so
Blues.
much. Well, it's hard to find. Like, it was a Kickstarter that went off, and then, like, there were a very small number of games that went out. So, like, if you have Speakeasy Blues, like, good for you. I don't know if you can actually get it anymore. I don't know.
And yet you found a way to play it.
I did. I did find a way to play it. I like both of those, like, designers. I like both designers, you know, and I like those games. So, with this one here, that just added to my excitement about the game, and as well as the dice cascading. Looking back at what is the one game where they had the cascading management.
In the Hall of the Mountain King?
Yes, in the Hall of Mountain King. Thank you. Sometimes you're just here to like jog my memory of the name.
By giving you the full
Yes.
name?
Yes.
You're here to jog my memory of the game by giving me the full name in complete detail.
I loved that mechanic so much in that game. So knowing that I can do dice cascading and then try to group up my dice in order to make certain combinations happen, like throughout the game, that sounds fantastic. Like, I'm excited about that. I want to know more.
Yeah, I can see the dice cascading thing making a big difference. And it does have more interaction. It's a little bit more complex. So I think that's good overall. I think it's, if you like Dice Hospital and you want something that's a different theme and has a little bit more player interaction, this seems like a pretty easy thing to pick up. And it's not too expensive either. Isn't it pretty inexpensive?
This one here starts at 55, yeah. Okay, and let's see here.
Or deluxe is like 80.
Yes. It looks more like a Target retail pickup if I wanted. It says Nosferatu. Let's see here. Andrew says, I'm interested, but it's too far down the list of my other Kickstarters. I totally get it. There's a ton of stuff happening on Kickstarter right now. Let's see here. I got to keep the Not a Compound fully stocked. What?
Pedersen, he has to keep the Not a Compound fully stocked. That's why he's backing all these things.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Not
now
a
I know.
compound.
Now the Not a Compound. That makes more sense. So, Doctor, what do you think about this?
It looks interesting. I feel that it might be kind of in that like lighter weight game. And so I think that might kind of hurt it right now for me. Because right now my current taste leaning like medium to heavy. And this seems like it'd be medium to light, if that makes sense.
Okay. I don't think that's necessarily like a bad thing, though.
And I kind of hate getting any game with
dice.
dice around you. Because I just have to hear you complain about the dice constantly while you back hundreds of dollars worth of dice on Kickstarters.
Fantastic Factories, though, was a really good game. And that has dice in it.
It's like the only dice game that we've
And that's
kept
a dice engine roll, like,
that
running
isn't a co-op
game.
Almost all of our games that involve heavy use of dice are co-ops. Otherwise, we just don't play them.
Jim says, I still want to try Dice Hospital. I still want to try Dice Hospital, too.
Dice Hospital's gotten a lot of like good reviews just in general, but I think it is on the lighter end, which is totally fine. For me, I think I want it a little bit more complex.
Ooh, I really want to check out Witcher: The Old World, too, Petter. Absolutely. So in this game here, the biggest thing for getting it on Kickstarter is that I believe they're going to give you like some extra cards and stuff like that. So you're going to get some cool extra components. And absolutely. You do get the deluxe portion, which with this one, I don't know if I'm like 100% sold on the deluxe upgraded one because it gives you like a monorail.
Yeah.
And like little monorail inserts and stuff like that.
So Omar asked if we'd ever played Artemis Project. Yeah, we actually backed Artemis Project, and we like Artemis Project, but we got rid of it. I actually ended up selling it because it is such a game of, I'm going to place my dice here, which is going to lock you out of that spot, and I'm going to get all the things now type of game, that it was very cutthroat. And so for us, we don't play games that are super cutthroat like that. So like a good example is Unfair, where you have the option of doing something kind of good for your park or doing something bad to the other person's park. For the most part, if we play Unfair, we always do just the good stuff and we kind of stay away from the bad stuff because we try not to have too many games in our collection where we're just going for each other's throats. Otherwise, it just gets frustrating.
Yeah, we don't want to create like extra animosity. Like Artemis is one that I would play with a lot of people where you can
like a 4-player game.
Yeah, where you can like disperse that and be like, oh, this person's ahead. But when you're playing with that game at a 2-player
it was
game,
painful.
Yeah, like the only person you can attack is the person across the table. So that just made it tough to keep that game in our collection if we were mostly playing it at 2 players.
And
like I thought it was a good game though. I liked it.
We got a buddy that has it, so I would still go over to his house and I'd play it with him and his wife, but I didn't want to play it together.
Jim like real upset about Unfair.
And see, I enjoyed Unfair, but it can get swingy. When we played our Unfair live, it went really swingy where it blew up a whole bunch of like space decks or something like that, like the observation decks, and you had like 3 of them, so it just like crippled you
wrecked me.
the last round, and I lost like nothing.
So Unfair falls along the lines a little bit of like a Munchkin-esque sort of game where like random weird stuff happens in the game sometimes, and you just kind of have to be prepared to enter that game going, hey, we're playing this game.
It's lighthearted and fun.
Right, lighthearted and fun.
You can't get too serious about it because you can get shut down.
Yeah, this game is not for Euro game players. Like, you kind of have to know what you're getting into whenever you're getting into those sort of games.
And I think we lean towards games where there can be player interaction, but I know you tend to like the games that are a little bit more solitaire, where like I can't directly mess up your stuff as much.
Because I got plans. I got sick plans happening, okay? Andrew says they did release Funfair, which is unfair without all the take that. Absolutely. Right. And you can actually play unfair without using those, like the other double-sided portion of the card. Yeah, you use like just
the bottoms or just the tops. I forget which side it is.
Whatever's the good side, not the bad side of those cards. You
there's
can make
lots
choices.
Of ways that you can modify, even unfair. Because there's even like world peace cards and stuff like that and everything too that you can play with. But there is Funfair. Funfair is a real game that they did that is...
Because of people that weren't enjoying the unfair quotation mark sort of
and for us, the unfairness came from like flipping over random events that just crushed our parks.
Yeah.
But, you know.
So, as far as theme park-based games, I can't think of a theme park-based game that we have. I always want everything...
Unfair is the biggest one.
I always want everything to be...
We had World's Fair, I think, at one point, but I don't think we actually played it.
I want everything to be like the SimCity of fair games.
Yeah, when you want one of these, you want it to be like this big, complex, like 2-hour deal where you're building all this stuff. And
that's what I really want.
And I think that's probably why we haven't jumped on any of them, because most of them are meant to be lighter. They're like 30-minute games or 45-minute games or something.
I'm really interested in this one, though. Like, really interested, though, because...
Because of the dice cascade?
Because of the dice cascading. Yeah, absolutely. Meeple Land is really good. Ooh, that's good to hear, Jim. I remember looking at Meeple Land, and that was one that I was definitely thinking about getting as well.
There's Danger Park, too, but Danger Park runs along the path of you're trying to build your park as fast as you can, and, like, safety standards, like, are not there.
Out the window. Yeah. You're like, oops.
So very much so that you're just
cutting
like, build, and someone's like, what are all these screws doing here? And you're like, did we forget to put those in? That's probably fine.
You don't need those. You don't need those.
That's probably fine.
With this one here, I think I would actually just go the base game route on here.
$55.
Yeah, $55. Not bad at all. Absolutely.
It's not like we just bought a modem today. It's just not like that.
Wow, Doctor. Wow. Let's see here. Meeple Land is fun with it polyomino mechanics. Let's see here. I had no idea Funfair was actually a thing, says Ryan.
It's newer.
Absolutely. It is new. I think like it just came out within this last year.
Yeah. Like I think it came out last year, but...
Yeah. You probably didn't get a bunch of hype because of everything going on.
It's fairly recent.
I want one where I build a 3D theme park. See, that's what I'm talking about. Absolutely.
You gotta do the one where you have the marble, right? And you build the whole thing, and the marble goes down the rails and goes around and activates with like a Rube Goldberg style machine. We've had one of those before.
Hello, Jay Peters. So, chat, are you backing this game? I know a lot of you are backing lots of other things, but are you interested in backing this game? Doctor, is this a game you would like to back?
I think I'm a pass at this point.
Really?
Yeah.
The dice cascading didn't sell it for you, huh?
No, I've gotten to the point where I'm wary of getting dice games with you, because you say that you'll be fine, but then you're not. So I'm just a little wary.
How dare you. Here's the thing with this one. If I'm doing a dice cascading movement, then I'm planning, so if I do a lower roll, then I know, oh, okay, I can place this dice over here, and then this will contribute to these. Like, it's different than a... What are you doing?
Nothing.
What did you just do right then?
Nothing.
What did you just do? What was that?
Nothing. You're good. Liar! She's lying!
I'm saying.
She's lying. She will get so mad if she keeps rolling 2s and 1s.
It's different than like a dice thrown sort of game, because dice thrown rewards you for just rolling high. Like, I don't like games that reward you only for rolling high. You have to have, like, okay, rewards for low rollers, for high rollers.
Like Machikoro, where you can roll 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't matter. If you roll low all the time, you just buy the buildings that activate on 1s and 2s.
No, because the dice get passed around, so then I have varied rolling. I know that I'm going to roll like crap. I know that you're going to roll really well. Between the both of us, a rolling competitive game is good, or a rolling cooperative game is good, but if it's a competitive rolling game, then it's too varied for me. It makes a lot of sense, everyone. It makes a lot of sense, okay?
We need a judge's gavel. Boom! Arrest my case.
Makes sense.
Am I the lawyer in this situation or the judge?
Okay, J. Peter says no. Joe Ferguson says skip. Petter says pass for me. Battlecry says pass. Jim says if I go in on this, I may go all in on Dice Hospital.
I can see that.
You'll have to let us know, too, if you end up getting the, what is it, flip, roll, and write, too, that they have available with this for Dice Hospital. Did you see that?
Cat's has had a couple games out recently. Yeah, I bet you Dice Hospital is probably something that we could probably get our hands on and play. I'm sure somebody that we know has it. And then if we like it, then, we might want to jump in on this one.
I'm just going to go talk to Daryl Andrews and be like, Daryl.
You're going to go talk to him? I'm pretty sure he lives in Canada.
How good is your game? Just tell me. How good is your game?
You're just going to casually talk to him?
No, I'm going to message him.
He's not even in the same country as us?
I'm going to send him an email.
Yo, my boy. Yo, what's up, Daryl?
Yo. Daryl.
Mm-hmm. That's how fancy she is.
All right. I would really like to back it. Doctor, would you back that game?
Currently, it's a pass.
Pass. That's right. Okay. Next up, we have Cellulose. Cellulose is by Genius Games. This is for 1 to 5 players. It's going to last about 45 to 90 minutes. This is a game all
Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Sorry.
God. Oh, biology. Sorry. Just dropping it.
Oh, sorry. I know this is about plants. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. It's the most important thing I learned in school. Oh, gosh. I use it daily, all the time.
All the time?
Ribosomes, cytoplasm. You know what's interesting is, for some reason, so I really like biology, right? And there's something about plants that I just don't care about. Like, for some reason, plants, like, I know you like plants.
What?
But whenever we discuss plant stuff, I was always just, like, trying to, like, learn just enough to get through it so we could talk about, like, other living things, like animals. I was, like, okay with that. Like,
You're
I loved
excited
all the
about
other
all
stuff.
the animals, but not the things that they eat?
Yeah. Well, that's my whole thing is I don't know. I don't like plants as much. Now, the only thing I do like about plants, which is actually another Genius game that we just got, is Genotype.
Genotype, yeah.
I liked that because it's a very easy way to show how genotypes work, right? Which is all about, like, hereditary traits and all those different things. So that was always really cool to me. So I always liked that aspect of it. And we just got that game in, which we haven't had a chance to play, but we backed that Genius game.
It, like, just came in
and
this last week. And I want to say
Greg has cytosis.
Yeah.
And he really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
So this could potentially be pretty good. I just wish it was about, like, I don't know, not a plant. Is that fair? Or a bird. Also, birds are low on my list. Yeah. I would rather learn more about worms than birds. I know that probably makes me weird, but everyone's got their favorites. Don't act like you don't have a favorite.
All right. So with this game here, you're basically going from water to plant growth and the cell and biology that goes into that. Genius Games is renowned for making games very, very scientifically accurate, as well as very, very playable whenever you're trying to play it. I totally recommend, first off, if you are a teacher, like, this is an insta-back for you. If you're a teacher in biology, this is an insta-back. Like, this is a fantastic tool.
Because you can play this with high schoolers, junior high, 4th, 5th, 6th graders probably.
You could 100% just basically translate this game over to a school environment and have kids learn about this in a very, very fun and unique way.
I would just want to have a couple copies of this and be like, all right, here's what we're doing today. We're going to get into groups of 4. Everyone's playing.
Right?
And just teach the rules to everybody. I like to think that I'd be that teacher. Who knows? I'd probably really be the teacher that's like just brings in the team and be like, we're watching Bill Nye. Mm-hmm.
And Petter says, I know Genius Games makes good stuff, but they never interest me that much. Joe Ferguson says, ugh, who put science as my board game?
No, the science. It's actually funded really well, though. It's at like $200K.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I said, I've heard good things about their other games. We have Genotype. I think the thing that's holding me back on this game is I haven't played Genotype yet. Like, I want to kind of get, and I know that just because it's the same publisher doesn't mean they're all going to play the same.
Right,
of course,
right.
It's not a thing. But there's something to be said about we backed that campaign. I kind of want to see how I feel about it before I back another one, which, we just got it. But I will say it is good that they deliver that before they put this one up.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we got that one like 2 weeks ago, I think, and now this is up. So
you blinded me with science.
This game, I think, would be perfect for our kid if we could convince our kid to play games. But since it's already so rocky, there's no way I'm going to try to convince her to play this over something with dragons in it or something.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Endoplasmic reticulum.
With this particular game,
Golgi
I love
apparatus.
everything that Genius Games does. However, I feel like the difference between Genotype and this game, which is a very, very important part, is the art in it. I feel like Genotype's art was very like romanticized and kind of put you in that place of being like that scientist and stuff.
Because you are the scientist versus being in the actual cell, being the cell.
Right. And the art in this one looks more like a textbook. And I feel like if the art in this was different and maybe if they made it more like you were the thing moving through this or something, that like tiny twist on the game would actually make this more exciting for people to play and not be just like a game like, I'm learning. You know what I'm saying?
So you need Magic School Bus style. You want to be like with the frizz.
Yeah.
And like going through here, like going through all the different parts of it.
Mm-hmm. Because overall...
Getting punched in the face by the mighty conduit because he's so powerful. Why is he hitting me? He's so powerful. He's like the powerhouse of this cell.
Because overall,
the only fact I remember.
I'm excited about this game.
Ribosome.
But if I was to put this game on a table with, say, like my mom...
Oh, your mom would dip.
Yeah, my mom would be like, I gotta go. Actually, I have a friend waiting for me right now. So, yeah.
Out of her purse and be like, throw it at your face and then disappear. And we might not see her for a while. She'd be out.
Whereas if I introduced my mom to Genotype,
she might be down with that one.
May look really interesting.
You know why?
Because that romanticized version of it with the art and the way everything looks.
Genotype's all about hooking up. You take
God.
You take this flower, and you rub them together, and you, ooh, what's this new flower?
Well, and I'm interested.
Then you introduce that new flower to that shy flower down the street.
Doctor. Woo! I'm interested to hear what our chat thinks about that, and if that kind of rings true to all of you out there. Because as I was looking through this, I was like, oh man, like if this, and it's not even anything big. It's not the gameplay. It's not like the naming of it or anything. It's almost like just that. Just making it a little bit more enthusiastic with the art or something. You know what I'm saying?
Her mom is really smart.
Yes.
The issue is that if she thinks she's learning, she's out.
Out. I'm done. Yeah. I can't be a nerd. I gotta be cool.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
It'd be really embarrassing if my mom was watching right now too. So I should probably stop talking about that.
Don't want to be a nerd.
Oh,
Someone's like, I heard you did really good in science, and she's like, breaks her science book and gets out a skateboard. She's like, I skate now.
Anderson says, I was trying to think of what was keeping me, and you just nailed it. The art looks too much like a textbook, and the slight difference in art would be amazing, says Andrew. Okay.
So do you think this game is really meant for the general public, or is it meant specifically for people that are doing like in school or home teaching? Like, what's that called? Homeschooling. There we go.
I feel like
it'd be perfect for homeschooling too.
The people that are making this game are people that are really, really in love with board games and science.
Right.
And the translation to that, so they have like all these fantastic ideas, they have all this fantastic knowledge, but that translation and getting it to a media marketing vantage point is what's holding them back. And I feel like that's what held them back with Cytosis as well too, because Cytosis is a really interesting game as well. However, it's set up like this art style here where Genotype is not.
Let's see.
Does that make sense?
I have no idea what my skateboarding sound effect was. Kabuki said they really liked it, and I'm going to be honest with you, those sound effects just happen.
We're going to have to go back and watch that.
They just happen. They come straight from my brain area to my mouth area, and then they happen. I have no control over them.
Just as a note, too, I'm not saying the art looks bad at all. No, the art looks cute, but it looks like a textbook. Art portion.
But I think that was kind of their plan.
And
I think their market really is for people that are trying to introduce this to children or are also in the field or, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's lots of people that, I mean, how many people do we hear that are like, oh, man, it's all about mechanics for me. I don't care about theme. Boom, here you go. Mechanics, baby. Get in on some of those mechanics.
Get in on your mechanics.
There's people that are so hardcore about that. They're like, I don't even care about theme. Blindfold me. I just need to feel the pieces and know what I'm doing. I hate those people. I'm sorry.
It was like a mouse skittering around.
I don't know what it was.
Terrible one.
I don't hate people that that don't care about theme, but theme is important to me.
This is really like what it starts at $39. This is a fantastic price point. The deluxe portion where you're getting all sorts of crazy like wooden pieces and stuff, I believe is at $55. But if you're looking just for that introductory,
look how happy John is.
Well, I wanted to look at.
Don't look at him.
No, I want to look at their other one. Hold on, we're delving. We're delving, everyone. Okay, so Dr. Livingston. I didn't even see that one.
It's a jigsaw puzzle. We have Genotype.
Okay, so Genotype.
I've played Nerdwords too. I played the prototype of Nerdwords with Greg and Stephanie.
Double the amount of backers, right?
I will say that when we played Nerd Words with Greg and Stephanie, the only people that really enjoyed themselves was Stephanie and myself. The person who studied anatomy and the person who is a science teacher. So that's fair.
Okay, so Genotype had double the amount of backers. Everyone.
That's fair. Maybe it's a little bit more approachable. Besides about plants getting down.
No, that's why I'm saying that I think that romanticized version on top of the actual science and everything that's happening is, I feel like, is the difference between those 3,000 backers. Like, I really do. I feel like just romanticizing this up a little bit more with the art and stuff like that, but keeping all the rest of the stuff the same is like, would be super fantastic. And it would make it a little bit easier to introduce to people who maybe aren't interested in science and maybe who aren't interested in games, or interested in science and not in games, you know, vice versa.
I think this is for a slightly different crowd than what we are personally, though, too. Because for us, games are just 100% for entertainment, where this kind of straddles that line between entertainment and teaching. And I think it's really good for people that are homeschooling, for actual schools, for after-school clubs. It's good for people that, like, you know, they want to teach their kids this type of stuff. There's a lot of stuff like that. I think it falls. I bet you this does well on Amazon, because someone's probably looking it up and they're like, oh, I'll buy this.
That's fair.
It's not mass market, but it is more for the general market, I think, of people that go, oh, yeah, it'd be good to learn about plant biology.
If I have to learn about plant biology, this is probably the way that I would want to learn it.
Can you imagine if, like, during high school they came out with a board game like this, and they're like, we're going to play this board game today? I would have been like, yes! I would have been so excited.
You would yes so hard.
I would have been so excited.
Hard in that class.
So Petter says, with Genotype, you're playing as a scientist versus Cellulose, which is just science happening.
Yep, and I'm telling you, I think
science is magic.
That is that difference of having that romanticized portion of it. So, like, if you had Cellulose and you were the scientist that was going through and, like, you know, doing stuff with the plants, like working that in some way, or making.
Plants? What were you doing with the plants?
And you're doing this.
I feel like the difference is Genotype is like, throws a toothpick and it's like, hey girl, what's happening over there? See, you're blooming. Just saying. It's a completely different game. One's about making a love connection between plants. This one's about plants doing stuff inside their bodies, which is gross.
So, like, Genotype was like the Barry White of, like...
Can't get enough.
That's right.
We should play that.
Scientific board game.
When we play it, we should totally play some of that. Like, just... Science happens.
Right? I feel like that it should be a shirt. Like, didn't the XKCD people maybe do something like that? So, chat, would you back this game? Doctor, would you back this game?
I want to play Genotype first. Okay. But I think out of all of them, I'm most excited about Genotype. So
me too.
I supported them last time.
I really liked Genotype. Like, I really liked it, and I really liked the theme, and I feel like I could introduce it to a lot of people.
This one like the idea, but we haven't played it yet.
Yeah, but this one here, I feel like I would not be able to. A lot of my game playing is introducing that to other people because I like teaching people games.
Yeah, I think Greg and Stephanie would be fine, but I think there's a lot of other people.
Probably, but outside of that, people are going to be like, Yeah, pass for me, says Petter on that.
No, Petter, we supported last time. It's your turn. We support an educational game. Do it.
All right, moving on.
And we're done. No more games.
Kabuki, I 100% agree. They crack me up so much. I wore out shirts made by them. Like, they're so good.
You wore them out? Like, outside?
No, I mean, like, I wore them until, like, they were holy and stuff. And then they became a holy shirt. Ah, and then I only wore them to bed.
My father's work is a game about science. So here we go.
Also, science in a romanticized version.
This is a very different science. I will say that every time I'm talking about this game, I just think about Young Frankenstein.
Me too.
And so, like,
right?
So Renegade put up a post, and they were talking about how, like, there's, you know, organization to all this madness and everything. And I was like, yeah, you don't want to pick up the wrong brain. You don't want to grab that Abby Normal.
Yeah, you don't want to bring the Abby Normal brain.
Where did you get that brain from? It's Abby Normal.
This is my kind of science, says Joe Ferguson. So, okay, you know what? Yeah. First off, who has
watched Young Frankenstein?
Let me know in the chat. Also, if you have not yet watched Young Frankenstein,
why do you punish yourself?
Why do you hate yourself like that? Like, go do it now.
Don't punish yourself.
Just go do it now. Okay, it's good.
It's good stuff.
So, My Father's Work is by Renegade Games. This is for 2 to 4 players. Should last about 180 minutes on this. Jim says he's already backed this one. This is about being a mad scientist.
That's like 3 hours.
And creating your life's work. It is like 3 hours. And during creating your life's work, you're going to be going through 3 generations, and you're going to have 3 rounds in each generation where you're going to be making choices through an app portion of this game, and the game is going to change with your gameplay on that.
Right, and there's 3 scenarios. Like, one of the scenarios is like during wartime, so they're like, this is a good time for us to do our research because people won't notice people being missing. There's like another one during like a plague. Yeah, the lost, like during the cost of disease. During like a plague where people are down from that. So it's kind of interesting that there's different scenarios. And then when you do things, like say you build a library, then you're going to actually flip over your book and it's going to have, the map's going to change and have that library there, right?
Right. And you know what? Okay, so what was it? J. Peter says maybe this one has better marketing, and this one is actually only at about 350,000. Like, I was surprised about that. And this one here, I thought was actually
200,000.
Yeah, pretty close.
This one's been up longer though. This one's in its last 6 days.
My
father's work happened Tuesday.
Why is this not backed more? People should be backing this like all up in here. You backed it.
The number one reason why is people go, oh, it's an app game. Will it work 10 years from now? That's the number one reason.
Are you for real right now?
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing over and over again. Oh, but there's an app-based thing. Like Mansions of Madness hasn't done it. Forgotten Waters hasn't done it. There's a million different games with apps. It's okay to have apps. It's okay. It won't kill you.
It's okay to have apps. Yeah.
It won't kill you.
And I know that they're going to have this up as an app-based game, but I'm sure they're probably going to put it on the computer as well, because Forgotten Waters did the same sort of thing.
I don't think Renegade is going to just like stop supporting this game.
Right. Renegade's going to be around, everyone.
And if they did, if it took them 10 years to stop supporting it, how many games could you get in 10 years of this game? So many. I get the app option would be preferable. They wouldn't be able to do it though, because they're talking about just so many thousands of words. Their book would be as big as the box. Then that raises the cost up significantly to print that much extra material and everything else.
The amount...
And you couldn't really do it the same way, because it is very much like a choose your own adventure style game, but with more complex decisions. So like, how would you do that? Because like one thing would have to change everything else. So having that in a book is a lot harder to do.
Absolutely.
Than having an app go, oh, you selected this and this, and then the app checks and goes, if this is yes and this is yes and this is yes and this is false, then this is what happens.
So we're going to be playing this on Tuesday. So make sure to, if you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, ring the bell, get notified whenever we go live so you can see this happen, because it's going to be an amazing game. I can already tell you right now. I'm really, really excited about this game. The app portion of it
is required.
Is required.
Is required, 100%.
It is so interesting, though, how this works. So you get your base story of what happens and your base village of what happens in this game. And then the app tells you how to set up, so where you're going to be putting the angry mob at, and, you know, how you're going to have certain story plot lines in this. So you're actually going to be placing pieces out on the board that whenever people cross those thresholds, you refer back to the app and you make choices, and then the app remembers those choices, and then that gets played out throughout the game, and different things happen in the game. Your game could go many, many, many different ways.
So a good question that was asked, are we playing this Tuesday? Yes.
Yes.
We actually have this.
We're playing this Tuesday.
In the house.
I've already talked to the designers. I've talked to Renegade Games about it and everything, been walked through the app and everything. We have it in the house. The copy we have, although it's pre-production copy, looks freaking amazing.
Yeah.
The characters are amazing. All the little pieces, you have like cogs. Look at this. You have cogs, you have actual bottles that you're using for things. Like, all the miniatures are amazing. The art's fantastic.
Because the miniatures, you get to decide like who you are, who your spouse is, who your people are in your house, who are the servants that are only outside the house. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ryan says, I really want to play this, Gloryhound. Your post for Tuesday is missing some words. It should say, should you... Oh, okay. We'll take a look at that here in a little bit. Yeah, we'll take a look at that.
We've been having all kinds of, well, like we said, internet issues and everything else. So who knows? Who knows what happened?
Fatal says, I have a network of shady informants. Hello, Fatal. How are you doing? So...
I get people's reservation about apps, but I guess
Renegade's going to be around for a while.
Well, as long as like all my games are apps, I'm fine. Like, I've only had one game that the app wasn't supported anymore, but that's because the whole game wasn't supported.
Of Crime is an app-based game, and that game is fantastic, and it wouldn't be fantastic without that app.
Forgotten Waters is really good too.
Forgotten Waters, an app-based game.
I love the voice acting.
Amazing.
And then Foreteller does all the voice acting and stuff for like Gloomhaven, Jaws and everything, and I love that. I'm all in on that stuff.
Absolutely.
I know that has the option of either reading it or having somebody narrate it to you, but I mean, it's nice. I don't know. It doesn't bother me.
I do like how...
I wouldn't want 100 games with apps in them, but I mean, if you've got less than 5 games with apps in them and they all went down, you can still play all your other games.
You had talked a little bit about being able to choose who your scientist is and who your spouse is during the game, which I thought was really cool. So they give you basically like a bunch of different miniatures, and if you want a female scientist and a female spouse and stuff like that, like you can set that stuff up any way you want. If you want your spouse to be this like hunchback and then like the gravedigger person, they can be like your little mad scientist and spouse. Like, it's so cool. Like, you can do whatever you want with all these different miniatures, right? I thought that was hilarious. I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, and these people are going to be in the town.
I should have made the hunchback my spouse.
Right? I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And like your scientist can have like the little shovel and be like... running around the house hitting people with shovels and stuff. Like, it's so cute. Like, all of the components in this are amazing. The board is set up specifically for the village book in this one here. Also, where it has a divot for those like rolled spines and stuff, and the book sits in there and then like it doesn't move. So it's not like something that lays over your map and then like it moves all around and like hits things.
No, yeah,
I really like that.
Nice.
It's very secure.
It'll be really interesting. Like, I'm already super interested in the game and the fact that we can actually play it is really cool.
Oh yeah. Like I think I talked to Renegade yesterday about it and everything, and I was pumped to play like right then. I just didn't have the time to because we had other things to do that night. I wanted to play straight away. I am so excited about this. It's going to have several different boxes like you were talking about, Doctor. And the collective pieces in this, you just basically open up the box, and these are all the things that you're going to need for this scenario here. The village, as you go through, does change. So if you decide to build a library, a hospital, like those are going to come into play later, and then they're going to give you different special things that you can do. The other really cool thing about this is the fact that you are running your scientist from not being too creepy, and the mob will start to get angry, and you can't be too creepy and like meet the mob because then that's not good. And if you get like too creepy, like that keeps you out of town where you can't go in town anymore.
Plus there's insanity to deal with too.
And there's insanity to deal with too. So you have to be really, really careful about that.
I think the one thing that'll hold this game back is some type of really good storage solution.
Oh, like game trays?
Oh my gosh. What? Oh, well now I'm all in because of this.
Jay Peter says I'm all in on this one.
I'm glad they unlocked this because this game, like we have the prototype version, it'll be a lot nicer in an organized way.
Let's hear. I say every time when people complain about apps and app stops being supported, you know what is still on your phone? The app. Well, that is true. If
the way I look at it is if it takes 10 years for this thing to stop working because of an app, I can always burn it for firewood because by then firewood will be super expensive.
Are the game trays supported by an app? Well, that's a whole different thing.
No,
We haven't even talked about the estates here. So the estates are really cool as well because what you're trying to do in this game is you're trying to build a small engine that lasts throughout generations so you can complete more mad scientist projects faster.
You can keep some research from generation to generation, right? But like a limited amount.
Right, a limited amount. So each generation your board gets wiped. You'll keep your things that you have in your estate, so like the special additions that you've built onto your estate, as well as you do have ways to pass on a small bit of knowledge and then like as well as one other project that you've worked on and stuff. So like you are trying to kind of move this step up while also completing the special projects that as you're going throughout the game. Does that make sense?
It does. Like right now, I've taught our kid how to properly toast a Pop-Tart, and that's the knowledge and research that she's going to bring forward to her children.
Move forward in life.
Yeah,
toasting that Pop-Tart, like perfect amount where you get crispy edges, but then the center is still kind of mushy, like...
And molten hot, so you burn your tongue.
Oh, absolutely.
It's important. Absolutely. It's the little things. It's the little things is what it is.
So yes, these are boards are layered. All of that fits in there.
Layered.
Your little cubes actually fit in these little slots here, so it's hard to knock them out of it. The boards look fantastic. The art looks fantastic.
The madness looks fantastic.
The madness is maddening. I mean, Fatal says, by the way, you need to order some of those little trays. Make sure whenever you do, use the link in the description, because that makes it so people realize that people are watching our stuff, and then, like, we don't get anything for that besides, like, renown, I guess.
Yeah, no one believes us that people watch our shows. It's true.
The right amount of cooking a Pop-Tart is to burn it and then put a what? Petter. How
Not cool, Petter.
dare you?
Frosted cherry Petter, really?
How dare you?
It's frosted cherry.
It's, it's the non-frosted strawberries are my favorite.
You heathen.
The frosting is too much, everyone, okay? It's a lot of frosting.
There is no unfrosted cherry one.
Too much sweet.
It's frosted or nothing, and it's cherry or nothing.
That's crazy, Doctor.
You happy?
So the madness portion of this, I think, is kind of cool, because as you're going through here, you can start to become insane, but the more insane you get, then bad stuff happens. So some of this insanity is good. You're going to get some victory points with it. But if you start collecting too much, you start getting bigger cards, which are bad.
How do we block Petter from chat?
Hold on.
He's over here talking about cherry is the worst.
Wow.
Block him. Actually, you want to be friends with somebody that hates your style of food, because then they don't want your snacks.
And then you just
There's
like,
nothing worse than going over to Greg's house and I've got, my stupid, really expensive plant jerky, and Greg's like, can I have a piece? I'm like, no.
Can I get some of that beef?
No, go eat some Slim Jims.
Jerky? Yeah.
Go eat some Slim
Go eat
Jims.
your disgusting Slim Jims.
Get away from my snacks. Get away from my gourmet snacks.
So the ingredients in this game
baby shark.
are super deluxeified. They look adorable. Like,
Adorbs.
the pieces that I have received are actually like glossy meeple sort of pieces, very, very colorful. Like, they're very premium meeple components. The cogs are all metal cogs. The bottles are actual glass bottles.
I'm just picturing you being like, the ingredients, adorable. The game, adorable. The components, adorable. The game trays, adorable. Just going through it.
Here are the characters. Look at, okay, so for my gameplay, I already picked out my characters,
yeah,
everybody.
I picked the ones that are like, for science!
This one here, this is going to be my scientist. This is going to be my wife. This person here is going to be the person that takes care of stuff inside the house along with this person. And these people here, they're going to be on the outside of the house.
I think
they're going to like do stuff, like dig up bodies.
I think I did the finger up guy as me, and then my spouse is over there with the potions.
This one here?
Yep, and then my noble...
That makes sense, because that's me in real life.
No. And then my noble people are like this werewolf dude over here who's just like, Rah!
This guy?
Yeah,
right
and
here?
then her, right? Because I want fancy people in my house.
Fancy people in the house.
And then the grave digger and the hunchback, they're outside people.
And then they're outside people. Wow, Doctor, rude.
They're outside people.
Ooh, and you can make them washed? Yes.
You can wash if you want to. You can leave your inks behind.
One less thing I have to do.
Take up the mantle. Gather resources.
Overall, this is a worker placement, engine building style game that lasts over several generations of people and everything. I don't know if all of you can understand how excited I am to play this game on Tuesday.
She thinks spooky things are adorable, Omar. Like, there's something broken with her, I think.
Yeah. She's
like,
adorable.
She's like, look at that little bat. Oh my God.
It's like a little flying puppy.
Look at that little skull.
A little flying puppy. I have many skulls around the house.
Gravedigger and the hunchback. Go drink from the hose. You go drink from the hose. No, it's not water for you. And then the other ones, you're like, would you like a Perrier?
So rude, Doctor. So rude.
I'm laughing because Ryan knows that's how it was when we were children.
He had me.
You boys outside with the hose. Go drink from the hose. I just want to come inside. It's like 100 degrees outside.
Jim says, you had me at mad scientist. I honestly,
the theme is pretty legit.
Don't understand how this is not more backed. Like, it's an amazing game.
That's why right there.
I cannot wait.
See it?
Right here?
That's freaking everybody out. They see that and they're like, ah!
Whatever. Dan's going to be in chat on Tuesday, too, because Dan's super excited to see the gameplay as well. Whenever he saw that we were going to be doing gameplay, he was like, sign me up. Like, give me that notification.
Did you sign him up?
I got to tell him today.
He's like not subscribed. It'd be awkward.
Look at the way that wound oozes blood. Adorable.
It's true. It's true.
overall, like I
It
said.
backs the game or it gets the hose again.
Okay, chat.
Chat.
Who's backing this game? Really? Who's backing? So I know.
Who's backing this game?
I know this is $100 expense, but the components in it are worth it.
Here's the deal.
Everything's
if
fantastic.
If you're on the
so
fence,
good.
you can actually, like I said, see some gameplay of it.
Yeah.
Right? Because off of just looking at it, I want to back it. But I'll actually really know how excited I am off of it based off of playing it on Tuesday.
Absolutely. And
if I have this face,
Battle Cry
it's good.
unsubscribe.
If I have this face, it's not good.
You'll be able to see all of the items and everything up close and personal with our camera and everything. So if you have any questions about the game, you can always go ahead and ask us in person and everything.
We won't answer, but you can ask.
I tried talking to the designer and stuff like that. I know that the publisher and designers are always busy, but I did try talking them into being there as well. So hopefully they'll be there as well.
So,
Omar says, yeah, I'm really tempted to back this one, especially it has the adorable label. It just reminds me, I mean, there's nothing better than being a mad scientist and creating monsters and having the mob come
I think
after
if
you,
there was
like
actually a
the
chance
mob.
of me reanimating things, I would have paid more attention in chemistry.
If I knew.
Like that's what really held me
I
back.
was going to be creating monsters in real life. I would have paid attention
Yeah.
in school.
Because I did good in anatomy and stuff, but when it comes to the chemistry part, it's not my forte.
Joe says, I'm in. I want to play it with Doc. I can be the glory hamster.
There you go. And you can keep all your snacks in the bottles.
And Andrew says, backing it. And Schmersh takes priority.
Schmersh is like this cool, like, I think it's a role-playing game that's out right now. It hasn't been out for a really long time.
Okay. Well, Kabuki, you can come play with us whenever we
Peters,
get it.
what you do is you get yourself some like Gatorade or something, right? So you get yourself like the green Gatorade and the blue Gatorade, the red Gatorade, and you pour those into the little bottles. And then in the middle of the game, you're just like,
no, don't do that. Don't do that. You can actually open the bottles and do that, but I would not because there's gonna be. You don't want like mold getting in those and stuff later on.
I do want mold in there.
No, you don't. You don't.
You don't know what I want.
You don't want an experiment inside your experimental game. You don't want that. You don't want that.
Well,
Okay.
now that you're telling me I don't, I kind of do. You should know this by now.
The only thing that I would say is that this game is going to be a longer gameplay. So whenever you're playing this game, it is going to be a game night because you are going through 3 generations and having people do all sorts of crazy things whenever they're picking stuff and everything. So it is a little bit longer game, but like that does not deter me at all. I'm so hyped to play this game, everybody. I'm like,
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, our gameplay will probably be pretty long that night.
I want to play. Well, here's what I've thought. I thought that maybe, so Man versus Meeple went ahead and only did 1 generation. They did the first generation. And I thought, let me know in the comments if you all think this is a good idea. Since they did the first generation, if we played through the first generation and then we showed second generation so people get to see more of the enactment of the choices and what's kind of happened in the game, I think that might be really interesting. So we can do like a sum up of what happened in like the first generation and then carry through the second one.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It won't be exact. Our generation won't be exactly the same as Man versus Meeple's first generation.
Right.
But
Because I would pick Kira
We'll
to
still
play
do-
as, and so would you, so that's a problem.
no. I'm saying because their choices are going to be different because
Right.
it matters. Like they ask you certain questions throughout the game and stuff like that. So like ours would be different, but we could do like a recap of what happened in our first generation, and then, but in the second generation, you're going to have those bigger changes where the map actually changes and stuff, and you're going to have some items that you've already worked towards that are
Remember.
going to start contributing towards stuff. So I really feel like being able to view that second generation of gameplay will be really interesting for everybody. So let me know what you think in the comments for that.
Headers down. Headers down.
I think first generation off screen, second generation on, third generation on Patreon.
I think it all depends on how long it
Ooh.
takes, too, because
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to playing through the whole thing if we're skipping that first generation, like if we're doing that off camera.
So
I don't want to do 3 hours, but I'll do 2 hours.
Well, here's the thing. We can set up for it on our table after the show, and we can play, and we could record first gen, live play second gen, record third gen, and then all you lovely Patreon members out there will get some extra content. So that might be really, really cool for everybody. So Ryan says, that's a fantastic idea, Gloryhound. Super excited. Omar, seems like a solid idea. Okay, perfect. Then I think that, because we're going to play through it anyway, like why not, right? And then you'll all
Sure.
get to kind of see that carried through. And that'll be available for our Patreon members and everything. So that'll be super fantastic. Okay. All right. I think that's settled.
To be fair, our Patreon's like cheap. You can like $3 a month.
Like
you get like access
just
to everything.
like do $3 and then like full access for everything and like watch it and then like, you know, choose to subscribe or unsubscribe, whatever you want after that. Like, but we're going to be trying to keep stuff on Patreon for that. So what are you looking at me?
I thought people to unsubscribe from our
Patreon.
Patreon.
Sorry. Just subscribe. It's $3 a month, and it's very, very helpful because we just bought a modem, and that was expensive.
Every time. Yeah. Well, hopefully the internet's working now because we called somebody out. We bought new cables. We got a new modem.
Well, this new cable still have to come in, so I still got to put all those up.
We didn't even get to buy fruit snacks.
Dang internet. Yeah, we did not. We did not buy the fruit snacks.
The Experiments. That would have been a good band name, like in high school.
Film the first generation, then run it at high speed while doing the voiceover explaining what happened. That would be great. Maybe I'll do that. That would be fantastic. Do like a quick rundown.
Something like that, Jim. For sure, it sounds like what we're going to do is record first gen, and then play second gen, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, thank you for everybody who showed up today and hung out with us during the show and everything. I hope that well, what are you backing? What's our final backing thing? Where's our burritos at?
Right at this point, they're over here.
Okay. Hello, Crabok. How are you doing? New modem. Might have a spare AOL one.
Oh, there you go.
Sitting around. Well, thank you. That's very nice of you.
They're sentient. Oh my God. It's alive. It's alive. I'm going to bite you.
Oh, not if I bite it first.
Burrito takes bites out of you.
Not if I bite it first. Oh, no, Cohen. It's okay. You can go back and watch and stuff. It's fine. But you know, you get our end recap on what we're going to back, okay?
Previously on My Father's Work.
It's going to be amazing.
For me, 100%, My Father's Work is the one I'm most excited about, for sure.
Yeah. Hands down. My Father's Work, everybody.
Hands down?
Hands down. Well, hands up.
Hands down.
Hands down. Okay. Hands up. Oh, dang it.
I didn't say Simon Says. Petter says he's spending his burrito on nothing, but that's a lie because he backed all kinds of things.
Let's
Just
see
not
here. Today. Yeah, we have to get, since we have all the stuff we do, like, our modem is expensive, everybody.
Ta-da!
So, My Father's Work, 100% on that. I think just so excited about it, everyone. Like, this is, like, one of the really cool parts where, like, all our hard work goes into something that, like, I want to play, like, super, super excited to play, and I get to play it and be happy and then, like, content. You know? Instead of like,
I'm gonna find a way to ruin it.
Instead of being really sad about watching other people play and being like, why can't I play that game?
Jim's spending my hard-earned money on My Father's Work.
Yeah, what are you backing?
Says My Father's Work easily.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And even if it's not something that we mentioned on the show today, I always like knowing what everybody's backing. I know we have lots of Marvel on there and just all sorts of stuff. Missing the solo option in My Father's Work, I think there's a chance they might add it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that they might.
It would be really cool if they did because I feel like there's lots of cool stuff they could do with it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's true.
Okay, so you mean Merchant's Cove?
You mean like Merchant's Cove?
On what?
Like that was a game that we got to play, that we got to enjoy and
yeah. Merchant's Cove was good too. But that was a Kickstarter that we ended up getting, and then like later on then we got to play whenever it was just coming out. Also very exciting. Let's see, we're waiting for some MOTU Kickstarter games. MOTU? What am I missing?
Marvel of the Universe. I don't know. Petter's looking for Merchant's Cove.
Yeah,
you don't know. Masters of the Universe?
On eBay.
Wasn't there a He-Man?
Oh.
I think there's a He-Man thing going on.
Okay. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Why would it stop He-Man?
Yeah, it had to hold He-Man. That was almost too much.
Okay.
We figured it out, Ryan. Thanks.
Is there anything else we need to talk about? So next week we have My Father's Work on Tuesday.
And then we are finally going to play Steampunk Rally Fusion, the game that cannot be played and shall not be named, that caused all the internet issues. No, we had it set up, and then like we had Battle Cry on, and Battle Cry's like, oh, it's skipping, and I looked at my phone, and it kept on replaying like the same 3 second loop, and I was like, this is not good.
It was just that, yeah, whenever like the music makes that sound, so I was like, dun dun, dun dun, and I was like, oh great, this is excellent.
I sent us down the rabbit hole of trying to figure out what was wrong with our interwebs.
Yay.
which is always a good time. Which is always a good time. But no, I'll be excited to actually get to play Steampunk Rally Fusion and my father's work. We got a good lineup next week.
Absolutely, and I'm also thinking I'm going to try to fit in, like, I really want to fit in Katara, and I would like to fit in Final Frontier Games also made a Roll and Write.
Drawn something?
Based off of Merchant's Cove. Yeah, Drawn to Adventure, that I really want to get in as well. So it matters how many games we can play this weekend.
Oh, we're doing our hype train tonight too, right? Do you know what the game is?
Bittersweet. We're doing a hype train for Bittersweet. If
Boom.
you all don't know about our hype train shows, it is basically where we have a first look at a Kickstarter and we give our reaction to that Kickstarter. So they can be quite funny and interesting. It's just kind of something fun that we like to do and hang out with everybody, and you get to see some cool new Kickstarters you might not have looked at before.
And we're doing it on our channel now.
We are doing it on our channel.
Instead of Tabletop Backers. So it'll be right here. At
so
what time? Like
just
5,
make sure
6, 7?
to ring the bell so you get notified. 6 o'clock today for our
6
time.
6 p.m. Pacific.
In 5 hours from now. So we will see all of you there. Other than that, I think that's it, right?
Ooh. Jim did the rulebook for Drawn to Adventure. I know. I keep seeing your name on all the Final Frontier stuff, Jim.
Ooh. Who makes Final Frontier games? Final Frontier Games. Yes. They did an excellent job with it. Fatal wasn't there for it, right? Was Fatal there? Were you there for it? Go look at it if you haven't.
It's a hot train.
I wish, Kabuki. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate all of your lovely faces being here and making comments and showing us all of the awesome Kickstarter knowledge you all have and helping us out as well as we help you. Anything else? Burrito slap!